Hey there guys, this is my Jumper T-Lite controller and I'm just going to go through a few things that I would like to fix on this. I've had it for about over a year now and I use it quite regularly, and a couple of things that has started to wear out. So the first thing that I wanted to point out was the screen. It has a backlight on it, but the backlight about 6-7 months ago started to die. It flickered for a while and then it just finally cut out, and you can't see it here maybe with my studio lights, but I'll be moving the sticks and you'll see that there's no backlight showing up. So I reached out to Jumper and they said that the LED in there might be gone, so they sent me out a new screen to replace. So that's one thing. But that's just a little bit cosmetic. I find that the screen contrast with the letters on there seems to come up quite nicely and easy to read. But there was another issue that came up just recently in the last week or so that is actually due down to performance. So it actually is an issue with the control. So you can see that the roll and the pitch works quite well for all the corners. For the throttle, it works quite well as well, so go all the way to 100, all the way to the top and down to the bottom, that's okay. But you'll notice that if I yaw left and right at about 50% throttle, that's okay, but as I go up to about 70%, you'll see that it won't actually yaw anymore, so you can see it gets stuck. I'll point out where it is, so you can see it right here. You can see it go up, and then it won't go to the right as I go up to the top right corner and also the top left. But if I come back down to about 60%, it starts to work again. So I think there might be a wire that's loose or something, a solder that might have popped out. So I'll crack this open, check it out, and see if we can fix that. Before I move into taking it apart and fixing those issues, I just wanted to run through some of the upgrades that I did to this. Some may think it's a downgrade, but I like it just out of convenience. So I do have this right angle connector that I've bought online. What it allows me to do is that I can fold this like this and store it away inside my bag without having to take off the antenna. So it's just a convenience thing I wanted to put on there, just makes it easier. Apparently these connectors actually do weaken the signal strength. But I haven't noticed any issues with my style of flying. Freestyle in close range, I don't really go out to long range or anything like that. I fly quite close to myself. I'm lazy to walk to my drone if I crash, but this does alright for me. Yeah, so it's just a convenience thing. The other thing that I've got on here is this white connector, or this white mount actually, for the neck strap. So it just makes it easier. I can put a neck strap onto here and it holds it with a nice balance. And I want to replace this one. You can see it, I've printed out a new one here. The reason is because this blue PTG 3D printed part is more translucent, I hope, than this white PLA. So I'll, since I'm opening it all up and trying to fix a few things, I thought I'd just try and install a new one of this as well. So anyway, my name is Dan Pham. Let's get into it. So first thing, I'll take it apart. Alright, so now that we have it open, first thing is I'm going to unplug the battery connector, just so I can separate that and make it easier. Put that to the side. Alright, so first thing I wanted to check out was on the left side here, the left controller, is the throttle and the yaw, which is what we were having issues with. Wanted to check these connections here. So these are the connections here that I wanted to check out, and they look okay to me, but let's have a look at it using the multimeter. So this multimeter does not have a continuity check, but I can put it into resistance check mode, and if there's any resistance, you'll see that it shows up some resistance, even 0 ohms, but it still shows up. So anything that's metal, we'll give this one a try. Not sure if this will work. Maybe that's not conductive. That is. Alright, cool. So I'll check the white wire first, which is the one down here, and I think it will connect to this white one out here. So since it connects from this PCB to this one here, I am going to guess that the white one is connected to the white. So while leaving the throttle down, I'll try and connect it. So there you go, it's got continuity. We'll go up to the top here, let's see if it has it. There you go, I think that's when it loses. Come back down, it's okay. Moving the throttle back up, I lose connectivity. So it's none there, coming back down. Hang on, let's try that again. So that's no connection. Sorry, I just keep slipping. There you go, so that's down at about 50%. Come back up to 70. It starts to lose. So I think that white wire is the one that's not connected well, and I can actually see it. So not sure if you can see it here, but the white wire comes down to here at a really sharp angle. So I might strip that back and try to solder that on, see if it works. Alright, so I've freed the white wire from that glue. Just going to try and desolder the wire itself. It actually looks okay to me, so I'm not sure what's going on. I think I've found it. So there you go, it wasn't actually at the point on this side, but over on this side here, you'll see that it's actually on by a thread, actually not even a thread anymore, because I think the only thing that's really holding it together is the glue. So it's actually, there you go, it came right off. Okay, so I won't be able to use that one again. I think it's a little bit too short. And what I can do, the old existing end of the white wire is still in here. So I might have to strip back the solder pad. Or at least strip the glue off and get to it. Alright, at least I've gotten to that pad. I might add some flux to that and some fresh solder as well. Let's see if we can get in there. Right, I've got some fresh solder on there. Alright, so now that we can't use this white wire anymore, it's too short. Thankfully I do have this laying around. I think it's about the same gauge. Should be okay, it's just gonna carry a small signal across, so I can use this. I know it's not white, but it should be okay. It's only going to be internal. I'm just going to gauge the length of it there. I think that length should be okay. Strip a little bit off on the ends. And I'll tin the ends. Okay, let's see if I can get this on. Alright, so I have that one in now. Just want to check that moving this shouldn't affect that motion. That should be okay. Now I'll get this other end onto that pad. Alright, not the best solder job, but I think that should do. Hopefully that works. Let's give it a try. So I don't want to put everything back together again, because I'm going to have to continue on with taking it all apart. So I'm just going to put the battery, plugging it in, back in. Making sure the battery is in the right way, so positive on the right. Right, now it's connected. The antenna is still on. Turn it over. Alright. It's flashing with the battery. Alright. So you can see here, it's working now. So I can get up to the top right and the top left, all the way down to the bottom, all corners. Now let's just try on this side just to make sure it's all okay. Top left, top right, bottom left. So there you go. That's sorted now. Great. Alright, moving on to the other fixes that we needed to do. Some of the screws are falling out already. Turn it off. Okay. Might leave the battery in there and unplug. There are 2 screws in there, so I'll have to take the battery out later. Okay, so now the harder part is to take all of that out. So let's give it a go. Alright, so now that I've got the main motherboard out and the LCD is attached there, so here's a new one that I'll be replacing with. So yeah, I'll have to get it out of this plastic housing. So I think first I'll make a note that on the right side here is the positive lead for the LCD screen, which is for the LED, I believe. And on the left hand side, I don't know why they used the purple wire, but I assume that would be ground. So we can test it out as well. I'll just test it with the ground to see if it's the right ground lead. And yeah, so I'll do that now. I'll take these off and unplug the screen, and I'll take it out of this housing, which I'm not sure how it's connected yet. Alright, so it looks like it's just stuck on the housing here with some double-sided tape. And I'll grab this one here, the new one. And I don't have double-sided tape. I'm not sure if this actually has it. Nope. I think that is just the way it is. So I might place it in here. I think it fits quite snug. It shouldn't be going anywhere anyway once it's housed inside the case. It's actually already stuck inside there, so I'll peel this off as well. Actually, I'll leave it on until I've installed everything, and then I shall peel it off. It might be a bit hard once it's inside it with the frame and everything, but should be able to get it out. Alright, so the screen is now inside its housing, so I believe it went this way. I'll put the ribbon cable in first. So it's sliding that in. Checking this one if it's the right size. Seems to be labeled a bit different, but let's give it a go. Looks about the same in terms of the wiring, so let's go. Let's try it. Alright, sliding that all the way in, and then using this, I'll close the clips on the sides. Okay, so ribbon cable is in, and so if I recall correctly, on the right hand side, looking at it this way, was the positive terminal. So I'll wire that up. actually. Before I do, I've almost forgot. I wanted to replace the the neck strap mount. So this was the previous one that I put in there, so you can see it here. This is the back of it. Whoops, shouldn't have done that. Anyway, yeah, so you can see it there. That's a white one. I'll leave this out. Hopefully I remember to get it back in. So all I've done was it's held in place with just a piece of PLA. I'll use that same one again. I'll pop this old one out. This is what it was. And this is a new blue one. I'll just make sure that the that pin can make it through. Yep, there you go. So put it back in this way. Hopefully that looks alright. Cool, so it fits, not in the way of any of the buttons. And now let's get this piece back in. So just sliding it in. If you want the STL to this, let me know in the comments, and I'll put a link to it. I might put it onto printables.com. So let's get these buttons in before I forget, and put everything back together. So, alright, the main board with the screen. Let's flip that over again. Alright, so that was a bit of a struggle to get this part in. The reason is because the connector here for the power from the battery is in the way of actually pushing this part in. So it was a bit of a struggle, and as you can see, the heat shrink I had to cut away again, and I'll have to put on some electrical tape just in case anything in there starts to bridge. So I'm just going to cut a piece off of electrical tape. Can't find my black one, so I'll just have to make do with this red one, so won't need much. Just a bit, and I'll put underneath. Alright, so that's now there just to protect it. It's not pretty, but it will do the job. Alright, and so I might start plugging them in now. It's actually the wrong one, this one goes here. Right, so I've got all those plugs in, and I think the last one is this one to go on top. So it goes on this way. Alright, so now that it's all in, I should be able to test out the screen now. So I'll get the battery in. Positive on the right side. Okay. Plugging this in. And getting the, making sure all the, just making sure all the wires are out of the way of the mounting points so I don't pinch them. So that's all there. Alright, let's get this case back all together. Let's get the antenna back on. Alright, and let's just turn it over and let's give it a go. Right, make sure that all the switches down. Alright, I've got my LED backlit screen working again, and everything seems to be working. So let's just try out all the switches. Yep, it's all working. The throttle and the yaw, all of the corners are working. The pitch and roll. And let's just check some of the buttons. Yep, that's working. That's working. Yep, everything seems to be working. Unfortunately, I don't think the light shining through this semi-transparent, translucent PETG is working, but at least it's a bit nicer than that white one before. So I'm just gonna put everything back together now, and yeah, there you go. So those are a few things that I did to fix up my jumper. The screen, LCD, and also the yaw of the left-hand stick wasn't working. So now that that's all working, I can go fly again. Alright, thank you very much for watching, and hope that helped someone out there. So any questions or comments, put it down the bottom, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.